booties are in fashion right now. Everybody wants a big booty. Mm-hmm. Luckily, my fat cells tend to go to my hips and my legs. But for ladies out there who that's not the case, that they tend to have smaller hips, smaller bum, the weight goes somewhere else. Is it possible to grow a more shapely physique naturally through weightlifting, or is that just a big waste of time for ladies who are not built genetically that way?
No, it's definitely possible. I mean, so anything, that's the thing about fitness, is anything is possible. The genetics just dictate the difficulty.
So it's easier if you're genetically built a certain way, but it does not mean it's impossible.
Doesn't mean it's impossible. And you'll probably have to go about it a different way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are scared to go about it that way. So like if you wanted to build a booty and you had a completely flat butt, you would have to go into a caloric surplus. You have to give your body the nutrients it needs to gain the muscle. However, if you're gaining fat as well, you might not like where that's going, but you have to be in that caloric surplus to grow the booty and then cut it all down and get rid of it. And then and then you would try to maintain as much muscle as possible. It's the same as if you were trying to grow your arms. It's the same as if you were trying to grow your chest, your triceps, your shoulders, whatever. It's the same rules.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Pranzata Podcast. This is your host, Andrea Pranzatelli. This is episode number 117 on the Pranzata Podcast on YouTube. We have a cat in the camera today for our guest. Today's guest is AJ, also known as Forrest. This is actually his second time coming back to the podcast. He's many things in life. He's a cosplayer. He's an artist on social media. He's a fitness trainer. Today's episode is going to be focused solely on fitness questions with a little bit of philosophy questions towards the end as well. Before we get into it, if you are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit subscribe. It is my mission to grow this channel this year, and your support would be incredibly helpful. Okay, so I first want to start the questions and the podcast off by letting everybody know that he actually was my personal trainer in the past before, and he taught me so many things. So thank you so much for doing this today. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad to be here. Whatever you needed.
Yeah. So my first question for you is about squats, actually. I'm like very much in a fitness mindset right now. I've been getting really into it. And as I've been doing my squats, I used to be really good at these a long time ago, and I've kind of lost the natural rhythm of them. Okay, so my question is, how far apart do you stand, and do the toes come in or out? Because I keep looking online and I keep seeing so many different interpretations of this that no one could agree on. And I keep messing around with different styles, and I think toes out are the best, but I'm not sure. So I'm wondering if you could elaborate on what you would tell a client if they had this question.
So this is one of those ones where I'd like have to see you. So essentially it has to do with like how you lived your life, basically. So like how your hips are rotated. So if you sit a lot, they'll want to be in more or out more. You generally want a neutral foot that is all completely attached to the ground.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for the rotational part. If you feel better out there, that's fine, as long as you're not like popping that inner part of your foot off.
Gotcha.
So essentially, it does sound weird, but like people with flat feet can squat better because they're just naturally, they get it. They're connected to the ground all the time. Sorry, my dog brought a squeak toy.
I can't hear it on the thing if that helps.
Okay, good. That's why I just looked at them. But yeah, so you just, as long as you have that flat foot, it's like the 3-prong technique. So as long as you have 3 points of contact and none of these 3 points are coming up, you will have a good squat. So that's kind of how you deal with the rotational part.
When you say you will have a good squat, what constitutes a good squat? Is it in that sitting back position instead of going over your knees?
So that also depends on your femur length. So yeah, that's why you're finding so much contradicting information, because it depends on who wrote the article. Do they know that these factors change it? So like if you have a long femur, then I think you're going to want to sit more forward. I forget the exact correlation, but it's more that mechanically, as long as your hips go, your stomach is braced, and you go down to where you feel is your 90-degree angle.
Gotcha.
Allowing anywhere from like that 80% to that like 110%. That's a good range where it's a higher level of training, so to say, because some people are just like, no, just 90, only 90. 90 is the only thing that's acceptable. Whereas it's like actually based on the individual's anatomy is what dictates a good squat. So
that kind of answers a lot of my questions, because as I've been experimenting, I'm just kind of going with what feels the best for my body, what feels more effective. And for some reason, for me, I need to put my toes slightly out, and it must be something with my anatomy that's a little different than other people, because I have scoliosis. So I don't think my hips are something's going on. I think my hips are out of alignment or something. So what I found was that if I'm too close together and my feet are too straight forward, I ended up getting pain in my quads, which I'm like, what is going on? And then I noticed when I widened my stance a little bit and just tilted my toes out a little bit, I could then feel the weight going away from my quads and going back into my glutes and, everything back there. So
that's your natural hip width is what you're standing.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of it. It's like, it's frustrating because you need to be with somebody that understands that everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But they need to understand the squat well enough that they can allow for these differences and be like, no, it's not this rigid thing. It's actually, this depends on the person. You'd be surprised how much, like, we're taught in such a way that it has to be this, it has to be this, it has to be this. And then through experience, you learn it's not always the case.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. And I see that true in so many different other things as well with fitness. But without going on a tangent about that, I'm just going to go to the next question. Okay. Next question. And I have a feeling I kind of know what you're going to say as a response to this, because I feel like you're an open-minded person, because this kind of goes hand in hand with like what fitness experts say versus, my question is, I've heard some fitness experts say that machines are a waste of time, that you should be focusing on everything free weights. What do you feel about that?
Depends on the goal. So if you're starting, and that's also like, who's the context for? Like, who's this for? Like, who are you talking to in this situation? So if you're brand new, yeah, that is kind of a waste. But also at the same time, if it's the only thing you can figure out, then it's not.
Or if it's an injury recovery, if someone's recovering from an injury and they're like very limited,
Yeah. So
don't worry, your cat's not distracting me. I actually am a huge cat fan. Well, it's distracting me in a positive way. I'm a huge cat fan. So, and I hope my listeners.
We just got her too. She's like, we've only had her for 2 months.
Aw, so is she a kitten?
Yeah, she's not even one yet. I'm allergic to cats, but not her for some reason.
I was literally just going to ask you if you're having allergies right now, because I could tell like slightly by how you sound that you're like a little more muffled than normal. Or are you having
today, but I've been like fine for like a month straight. It's just today for some reason. But yeah. So machines are good for isolation. That's predominantly what machines are good for. So, if you're bodybuilding, you want to target this one muscle, you're going to need the machine.
Yeah.
So it's in that case. And then also machines are good in, as you said, the rehab. part.
Yeah.
It depends on the machine. There's certain machines that, and it doesn't help because gyms will just buy one chest press and then they're like, this is a chest press. This is how you do it. And it's like, no, not exactly. Like, this model is better for somebody that has an injury, and that's the one you would see at the physical therapist. It's generally like the more moving parts and more complicated it is, that's the one that's better for physical therapy.
I was just going to say that kind of goes hand in hand with the squatting question, because when it comes to machines, I do use machines, but I find that if I use a machine that is rigid in one position and it doesn't allow me to adjust, and something doesn't feel, unless that machine is just perfectly designed for my form, if something doesn't feel right, I just won't do that machine. I just kind of listen to my gut instincts about that, So.
Yeah, it's very much, that's kind of what you have to do. She likes my desk too. This is not.
I have cats around here too right now, but none of them are jumping on me, fortunately. Okay, so the next question, that clarifies a lot. This one is for the ladies. All the talk, or I guess the gentlemen too, if they want to do this, but everybody, booties are in fashion right now. Everybody wants a big booty. Mm-hmm. Luckily, my fat cells tend to go to my hips and my legs. But for ladies out there who that's not the case, that they tend to have smaller hips, smaller bum, the weight goes somewhere else. Is it possible to grow a more shapely physique naturally through weightlifting, or is that just a big waste of time for ladies who are not built genetically that way?
No, it's definitely possible. I mean, so anything, that's the thing about fitness, is anything is possible. The genetics just dictate the difficulty.
So it's easier if you're genetically built a certain way, but it does not mean it's impossible.
Doesn't mean it's impossible. And you'll probably have to go about it a different way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are scared to go about it that way. So like if you wanted to build a booty and you had a completely flat butt, you would have to go into a caloric surplus. You have to give your body the nutrients it needs to gain the muscle. However, if you're gaining fat as well, you might not like where that's going, but you have to be in that caloric surplus to grow the booty and then cut it all down and get rid of it. And then you would try to maintain as much muscle as possible. It's the same as if you were trying to grow your arms. It's the same as if you were trying to grow your chest, your triceps, your shoulders, whatever. It's the same rules, essentially.
Is that what people mean when they say bulk and cut? It's
yes.
Putting on the extra calories and then cutting to see which muscles would show after you built them?
Yes. However, bulking's kind of become this like excuse to eat like shit. I just need calories. And it's like, no, you just need to eat more. You need to eat what you eat on your diet, on your cut, but you just need to eat more of it.
So you're not one who believes that calorie is just a calorie. You think certain calories have more positive benefits than others?
Yes, I would definitely say so. Like, so for example, generally you want, when it comes to the nutrition and stuff, you want your balance, you want your vitamins balanced, you want your micro, you want your macro. Well, you want your macro, your micro, and then your vitamins balanced. If you can find a diet or whatever, you can find a combination of food that hits all that, that's like your golden meal. Mm-hmm. And then just allow yourself some variations every so often so you don't get bored. But, my secret is that I find one that works. I find one that I like, and I just do it till I get sick of it, and then I switch it up. Same as if I was doing a gym routine. I find my workouts that I like or that hit everything. I got this comprehensive sheet that hits everything. Cool. I'm going to do all these for 6 weeks. All right, 6 weeks has come. Am I bored? Switch out the ones I'm bored with. Try it a different way. Because there's so many ways to just do the same thing. And that kind of applies to food too.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I've definitely switched up my diet over the years. Right now I'm doing very much of like a Mediterranean type of diet, and it's working for me. I don't go heavy on the carbs, like the wheat and the cheese. I do eat a little bit of bread. I do eat a little bit of cheese, but mainly it's like fish, olives, artichokes, like that type of stuff is what I'm doing at the moment. Some meat too.
Here, I'll let you in on my dirty secret.
What's that?
I don't eat vegetables.
You don't eat vegetables?
Nope.
Why?
I don't like them. I don't like the ones that you're supposed to eat are green. So it's this like complicated thing in my head. I just don't like vegetables, and I never did. So for me, I'd rather get my nutrients from like something that's like pre-made or whatever. Because I don't like the crunch of green lettuce. I don't like broccoli. I don't like spinach. And the green ones are the effective ones because the other ones are just kind of sugar. So I just
don't even
eat
sneak them in, like sneak them in a smoothie, sneak them in a tomato sauce of some kind, anything?
Nope.
Powders, like green powders?
That once in a blue moon. But generally, I'm getting everything I need. So because I track everything, so I know what I'm getting, and if I'm very rarely low. So it's like I said, like there's ways to do stuff. If you hate vegetables, that's not an excuse to like. I don't eat salad. Like I haven't had lettuce on anything in probably 10 years. So it's, yeah, like that's my big secret is like, you don't even need to eat vegetables. But I don't tell people that because I need to tell them, like, as a trainer, I need to be like, yeah, no, we gotta eat vegetables.
No, but I understand why it's a beneficial thing to say. I get what you're saying. Just to clarify for the listeners, he's not saying don't eat your vegetables. If you like vegetables, eat vegetables if they have something nutritious. But what he is saying is that there's a way to do it for everybody. If you can't stand the idea of ever touching a vegetable, you're not doomed. There's a way around it. I think that's what you're trying to say. Your cat.
Yeah, Luna, do you like vegetables?
Your cat's like, your cat's like, I don't eat vegetables either.
She doesn't. She only eats cat food.
Okay, next question. So you've worked with me in the past, so you know this about me, or if you still remember, it's been a while. I avoid working on my arms, and it's not because I'm afraid to have bulky arms as a female. It's actually because I play piano and I'm freaked out about putting any weight on my wrists. A lot of my workouts are focused on cardio, abs, and glutes and legs with very minimal upper body. Is that stupid? Is that bad to leave a whole body part out? Will it create some type of muscular imbalance in some type of way that's going to harm me in the long run?
Do you train back and chest?
I do, just at a minimum. I do the bare minimum, and I don't have any intentions of growing muscles bigger, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the growth only comes from caloric surplus.
Yeah.
So if you're in a caloric deficit and you're doing the exercises, you would only tone it.
Yeah.
Because you can't make extra what's not there.
Okay.
Because you won't have that surplus, so it can't create it. So then, but I wouldn't say it's one of those, like, I'd give that mindset a C plus. Like, like you could and you probably should, because a balanced body is always better. Because eventually, like, you hyper catastrophically thinking, you could, in the darkest timeline, whatever, build calcium deficiency in your body. Like, you could essentially maybe be prone to osteopenia in your wrists or something or your elbows, because one of the preventative measures of that is to increase bone density. So your bone density is weaker there because it doesn't have any muscles as opposed to the rest of the body. So you're going to have like arm and elbow and wrist problems when you're older.
Oh, so you're saying that the body kind of naturally has a way of understanding, wait a second, this bottom part is really good, this top part isn't, like, and it'll kind of act on, like, the body will actually deteriorate more because of that?
Well, we're all going to deteriorate, but it doesn't matter what you did. Like, if you have an injury, that'll deteriorate too. But essentially, like, what I've seen, because after I got done training at Retro, I went and worked with a lot of the older population. So I got to see both sides of it. So I kind of got to see what the end result of people being like, oh, I don't train arms. And I'm like, how's that going for you? Well, I have osteopenia, or I have this, or I have that. And I'm like, aha. So guess what we got to do now? We have to train arms. So you could do it now and prevent it, or you could, and it's just a bare minimum. It's just, you just got to move it, and it doesn't have to be heavy. So
that's what I do. I do the bare minimum. I just don't, let's put it this way. When I work out at the gym, I would say 70% of my workout is based on all the other body parts, and maybe not even 80%. I would say 80% is, all right, I'm going to try to break it down. I would say 60% is glutes is what I do, like glutes and lower body. Maybe 10 or 15% cardio and abs. And then whatever's left, I do arms. So I do something. It's just very minimal.
I would say if you add a little bit personally, if I was training you again, I would throw in some more chest and back, and then just let those, because your triceps and your biceps synergize with those movements. So chest and back, also back's really important.
Also, side note, I don't know if this is true, but my personal theory for the older ladies out there, or ladies who are aging, I sometimes wonder if working out your chest and back will give you perkier breasts.
It does.
Because it's like a built-in bra, like muscle bra for your
It does add perkiness.
It does? Ooh, okay. Well, then that's more motivation to do it.
Yeah, no, it does. So I used to be overweight. And I was like, man, I want that perky chest. And here I am years later, and I got it. Yep, definitely. Yeah. I can confirm.
Yeah, because I mean, boobs are fat, so they're going to do their thing. But I always wondered, I'm like, I wonder if it's like really solid up here, if it kind of just lifts everything with it.
It does lift. Yep.
That's good. Natural breast lift. Okay, next question. All right. Is protein really the most efficient way to build muscle, or could you do it with healthy carbs as well?
It's healthy carbs. It's not protein.
Oh, so healthy carbs is actually what builds the muscle.
Yes. Protein just kind of synthesizes and repairs it, but the growth of it comes from carbohydrates.
The surplus calories. Yeah.
Yep. Well, the surplus carbohydrates, because you don't necessarily want surplus fats. You want surplus carbohydrates, because the carbohydrates go directly into the muscle beds. Just kind of. It's the easy way to understand it.
We did talk about this on the last episode that you came to do. I remember I explained to the listeners that you were the first one who taught me I don't have to consider carbs the devil. And I lost a crazy amount of weight eating a lot of carbs when I was working out with you. And I actually too much weight. Like, it worked too good to the point where I was like, we have to stop this. I remember you telling me, like, at first I was like, I lost 10 pounds in like a week and a half. And at first you're like, that must be a mistake. And then I showed you the scale at the gym and you're like, wow, that really happened. And it was crazy. I went from this keto mindset and you were like, eat carbs. And I was like, I'm just going to give my trust over and just see what happens. And I dropped weight too fast. It was crazy. I never imagined that, Yeah,
your body was in a lockup essentially. And that's it was like, hey, we need these. She's not giving it to us. We're going to hold all the carbs we get at all. And then they're like, oh, we're eating carbs again? Nice. All right. Lockdown's over. Like,
that makes perfect sense. Okay.
But yeah, so to grow muscle is carbs.
No, that's good. Okay. I only have one more fitness question, and then I have some fun questions after that.
Okay.
This one's okay. It's about you and your fitness journey. What was the biggest fitness mistake you made as a newcomer at fitness many years ago when you started?
So many. There's too many to count. I would say I don't know if I want to go the nutrition route or if I want to go the physical, because there's mistakes in both departments. I basically starved myself.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess the starving myself is the one that should probably ring true. Like, I lost a ton of weight, used to be overweight. And then, so what I did to do it was like, I did keto. Well, I technically did Atkins, but they had phases, and it was phase one, which was like this incredibly low thing. And I did it for 6 months, like religiously. And I lost a ton of weight, got shredded. But now when I look back at those photos, I'm like, oh God, I looked like a ghoul. Like I looked sickly, and like my eyes were sunken in. No wonder everybody was worried about me. Like I thought they were just trying to derail me and stuff. And it's like, if you're going about this stuff in a destructive way, and people are concerned, not trying to demotivate you, but like concerned, like, hey, you look great, but also you look horrible. Like, maybe listen is what I would say. Cause I basically had to redo everything. Like I had to reintroduce carbohydrates to my body. I had to then like just deal with the weight that came with it, and then kind of almost like rework the system back all the way around. So it was almost like starting over from nothing. And it was a huge waste of time. It was destructive and just shouldn't have done it. Yeah, that'd be my biggest mistake, was thinking that this is sustainable. No, it's not. Yeah.
I agree with the sentence. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just the moral of the story is, if you're starving yourself, you're wrong.
I was going to say, I agree with the sentiment about listening to what people say, because there is some truth to, on your journey of bettering yourself, you are going to come across people who derail you, that purposely would like to derail you because they're insecure about your success. However, when everybody's saying it, then it's time to pay attention. To me, the telling sign that I was losing too much weight, because I did a very similar thing as you when I first started losing weight. It started as a healthy desire to get fit. And then because it was something I never experienced before, I became addicted to the weight loss. And that was the beginning of my journey as well. My fitness journey as well was going through that at a very young age. I think it's a common immature mistake that young people make when pursuing fitness, is that they overdo it in the beginning and then they learn from their mistakes and have to move forward. But going back to what you said, for me, this was so telling. All the men, all of them were like, you would be perfect if you gained 10 or 15 pounds. And all the women were like, you look perfect. What's your secret? Because women have an unhealthy, at the time at least, I think times are changing now where bigger bodies are more acceptable. That sounded terrible. More acceptable. People have a more open mind about different body shapes is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But at that time, there was a very delusional sense of how thin a woman should be. And all the women, I got so much female attention. It was crazy. But all the men were like, you went too far. So that was a telling sign that something was wrong. And I went through those same thoughts as well. I'm like, all these people, they just want to derail me. But like, no, there was something going on. It wasn't just that one friend trying to derail me. It was everybody,
Yeah. And it's also like that state messes with your mind too. Because if you're not eating enough, like either the brain chemistry just goes haywire. So you're like, everyone's out to get me. Like you kind of get this like paranoia almost. And it's, these people are like legit concerned about you, and you're just like, they're my enemy,
And on top of that, I've always been a coffee addict, which I've worked on fixing over the years. But I was starving and caffeinated at the same time. I was a disaster. I was a disaster of a human being.
So. Nice. That's a fun. Yeah, I'm still on. I call myself a caffeine at this point.
You're still a caffeine addict?
Oh yeah, it's only gotten worse. Well, I'm narcoleptic, so I generally do need more caffeine than the average human just to stay awake.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's getting up there. It's getting into the 3 digits, the 4 digits.
I've cut back on caffeine over the years. I'm embarrassed to say, I used to drink almost a whole pot. I mean, I'm sure it's not embarrassing to you if you're a caffeine addict, but I used to drink almost a full pot a day, and really heavily, because I would make it myself. I wouldn't use a Keurig. I would make it strong too. I've gotten it down to about a quarter of a pot a day and less strong. So it's a huge improvement. But I still find myself doing stupid things like drinking it on an empty stomach, which I've gotten better at that as well. But still, I occasionally drink it on an empty stomach and I'm literally high having like a caffeine panic attack. And I like it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like this weird thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is a high. And it's like, it's kind of like, it's so weird that like, it's almost like being drunk, but energized. You're drunk on the energy.
I get angry on caffeine too. Do you get angry? I have anger issues on
No,
caffeine.
I don't think I have an angry bone in my body.
Oh,
like
really?
I'm pretty chill, like with everything. I don't get angry. I just am kind of like, wee, like I just go fast.
When I'm on a caffeine high, when it's over the top, I have angry ruminations about things that pissed me off in the past, like people that pissed me off, things that pissed me off. And it always happens when have had too much caffeine and not enough to eat. And it's a horrible way to start your day because you just start your day with this like, fuck this bitch from 10 years ago, like fuck this ex-boyfriend. It's crazy. And it only happens when I'm high on caffeine. It's very bizarre.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The only thing that I've on record can make me angry is tequila. It's the only thing that brings out the rage in me. Like, and it's bad when I'm like, what's in this? And they're like, tequila. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm fighting somebody tonight. Good job. Like,
are you a drinker?
Not really. I do it occasionally. I mostly drink during the summer because that's when there's all the parties. That's when I'm getting together with everybody. Everybody's got a cookout.
Yeah.
I guess I'd say I'm social. But generally, and I stick to like the diet stuff. Like Truly is my favorite thing right now. Like I just get a case of Truly, I'm set for a weekend. Like I'm chilling. And, but all that comes with it. So
I can't remember the last time I've had a drink. And that's not because I'm against drinking and it's not because I have an issue with alcohol. It's not like that. I'm a little bit older than you, I think. And I think it's just something with age. Eventually I was like, my body can't do the hangovers anymore. I was able to handle it when I was younger, but now I'm just like, I don't see the point of me doing this. People are like, oh, one won't hurt you. I'm like, actually, at my age, one does hurt me. It makes me bloated. It makes me feel fat. It's expensive. It gives me a hangover. It gives me migraines. I'm just like, I don't see the benefit for me anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's why I just do Truly because it's like, it's 5%. It's nothing in it. They're basically just juice boxes with a buzz.
Yeah.
And that's why I stick with that. Also, I thought I was older than you.
I thought I was older than you.
I'm 92.
How old are you?
1992, so 31.
I'm 30, gonna be 36 in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah, you are. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I'm used to being older than other people, not to brag, but people always think I'm younger than I am. So I tend to attract and make friends that are younger because they think I'm like 30. So I don't think I have very few friends that are older than me just because I sort of attract, like I've always attracted younger boyfriends. I've always attracted younger friends. It's just a thing. I don't know. I remember the boyfriend I had at the time when you were training me, he was like 4 or 5 years younger than me. I guess I'm a forever cougar or something.
It's all right.
I can't say MILF yet because I don't have any kids. I have cats. I don't know if that makes me a
you can
MILF.
be mom. You can be mom, cat. Cat mom.
Okay. Last question. Oh no, 2 more questions actually. This word flow state, this could mean different things to different people. So I'm not sure how you define flow state, but for me the word flow state means being able to move throughout my week peacefully and gracefully and get things done in a kind of calm state. So whatever the word means for you, flow state, what sort of things help bring you closer to a flow state and out of a miserable state, I guess, for lack of a better term?
So fitness helps, activity helps. It's kind of like for me, I find that breaking up my day, not doing the same thing over and over and over every day of the week is what I guess gives me my flow state is like, so, for example, if I'm sitting, like, let's say I worked all day and then I'm sitting there watching a show. And then the following day, if I were to do that again, then I would start to get frustrated.
Yeah.
But let's say I get out a little bit earlier, I make this slight change to my routine. I go for a walk instead, or I take the dog for a walk that's longer, or, I maybe have an interaction with somebody. I just need to break it up. So I need to have can't be the same thing every day. And then that helps me stay in my best state of mind. So this is so out of the norm that I'm going to be riding off this for 2 days. I'm going to be like, yeah, fuck this. So, and then I'm actually going to help my sister today. She just had a baby. So I'm an uncle now.
Congratulations. Is that your first niece or nephew?
That is the first. Yep.
She had a baby today?
No, today. She's 2 months old.
Oh, I was going to say, if she had a baby today, get the hell out of here. Go take care of her.
No. I was there when she was born. I was there. Yeah. I was I think the fourth person to hold her ever. So, but yeah, I got a little niece now. Her name's Dory, the fish.
Oh, adorable. I hope she has a good memory though.
She's, I don't know what she remembers. Last time I was there, she started seeing stuff, but she could see dark colors. She was just staring at my hair the whole time. She wasn't making eye contact with me. Her eyes were up here the whole time. And I'm like, I get it. Yeah. Everyone, my hair, that's what everyone remembers.
It takes all the focus, your hair.
Mm-hmm.
If I was a baby, I'd be looking at your hair.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more question for you. I consider you to be a hardworking person, especially with your fitness and everything, but I don't consider you to be a lazy person. You always seem like an active person, in my opinion. What motivates you to keep working hard?
That's a hard one. I do actually feel like I am lazy.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's just so ingrained in me that, I guess it's more comes from my mentality of I don't sit there and I'm like, oh yeah, I did a workout today. No, I had to do that workout. It's not pat myself on the back, I did a good job. It's no, I had to do that and I got other stuff to do. And then when stuff starts to go by the wayside, cleaning and that kind of stuff is there's definitely areas that I see myself that I can improve. But also it's weird because it's I lived my whole life thinking I was lazy, but it was just undiagnosed narcolepsy. So I was just man, all right, well, I went to the gym today. I guess that's all I'm doing. God, I'm lazy, but it was actually, hey, my brain is telling me to go to sleep at 2 p.m. as if I didn't sleep for a week. So, and it's just kind of weird because now, after years with doctors and stuff, I was able to figure it all out. And now I'm I feel productive. And that's a big thing. That's a big flow state thing for me, is the productivity of a week as well. What keeps me motivated is, this is going to sound so weird and hokey, is staying motivated, continually doing things, getting things done, completing tasks, because I'm coming from the other side where I physically wasn't able to do that. So when I complete a task that's above the things that I could do when I was sick and tired, that motivates me to do even more, if that makes sense.
I read that somewhere for people who have depression. I don't know, there's a lot of things written on the internet, but what I read was, if you're somebody who suffers with depression, just doing tasks, even if it's as simple as going to pick up a thing of milk from the grocery store, can be incredibly motivating, because just that getting the energy moving and doing simple tasks, it could just kind of, like you said, kickstart this thing where you feel inclined to keep continuing that energy,
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that. So I also do depression, anxiety, narcolepsy, whole nine. got it all. ADHD. But so it's funny you mentioned that, because one of the things I started telling myself, and this actually even applies to fitness, and maybe this will put a nice little bow on the conversation as well. An object at rest wants to stay at rest. And you can apply that to doing your task. You can apply that to doing your workout. You're like, oh, why does this workout suck? Because you were an object that was at rest.
Yeah.
Get going, get moving. Oh, all of a sudden it's not as bad. Or just get your foot out the door to go get that milk from the grocery store. Oh, all of a sudden it's not as bad. Because it takes more energy. I think like the understanding of that quote is like, it takes more energy to move it than it does
to maintain the movement.
There. Yeah, well, just to sit there. So that act of the movement, that first initial movement, is the hardest part. And once you get going, just be a rock going downhill. Just keep moving. Don't let the inertia stop.
Yeah, because sitting there and brooding on I'm a loser. I didn't get off the couch. How could I not? When am I ever going to get my life together? That is pulling so much of your energy that it's almost like just moving would require less. Because I think people in that headspace feel like, I don't want to do it. And they maybe fear that it's going to take more out of them than they have. But it's like, actually, no, what you're doing right now is taking energy. It's not physical energy, but mental energy counts too, Mental
energy is draining.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest drains I see with clients, myself, people I know, just this entire generation. We're all in our heads so much that it's just, you can't be in there anymore. Like, it's just, stay out of there. Like, go in there when you need to reflect, but also stay out of there when you don't need to be in there. And I find that like a lot of people go in there just to go in there. It's like they go into their head just to go into their head. And I'm like, maybe don't do that. Maybe just accept what has happened. Don't worry about what will happen. And then stay here in the present. And then in that present, what are you doing? Are you a atom at rest, or are you an atom moving? An object at rest.
When you said that you believe that this generation has an issue with that in particular, what do you think is the cause of that? Is it technology?
Trauma.
Like, what is it?
Trauma. We live through traumatic experiences almost daily. Stuff that like the previous generations haven't even seen, or that get once every 10 to 20 years. We get daily. So it's just also like with the spread of technology, we're more aware of everything. And that was another big thing, is like, I think like the previous generation got to have that ignorant bliss where like they didn't know what was going on in they didn't know what was going on in Missouri or whatever, and they're on the East Coast. They had no idea. But then the internet comes out now we can know that there was I'm trying to think of something bad. A chemical refinery blew up in the middle of the thing. Oh my God, I feel so bad for all those people. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't, back in the day, rewind about maybe 10, 20 years, they had no idea. They had no idea that would happen. So it's kind of like this spread of information also kind of like, I am a big believer of not knowing things is actually kind of nice. So, because you don't need to worry. It's information you don't have. So don't have to worry about it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Or at the very least, if people are afraid of, if I don't know this information, I'm being a bad person because I'm not being a part of the world and helping in whichever ways I can. I don't think people should feel guilt for not being able to. Because here's the thing, a lot of those people who care about what's happening, and this doesn't speak for everybody, because some people genuinely donate their money or time or efforts to help certain causes. But a lot of people who are worried about what happened in that country just talk about it, and that's it. So I don't think people should have to feel guilt for what happened in this country when they have something going on in their own community where their hands could be of help. And so to me, I don't see this as being irresponsible and being avoidant of issues to not have to deal with them, but rather than being able to put your energy where you can help, because I live in Philadelphia. I mean, you've been to Philadelphia.
Oh,
There's
I
some
grew up
things
there.
going on here that I care about, that I want to help and I want to be able to do what I can. I only have so much energy to do that for the whole world. You know what I mean? So I put my energy in help where I can,
Yeah, no, definitely. I was brought up with this mentality of like, look out for your neighbors, but also don't overextend yourself. Like, and that's kind of like, apply that to a bigger scale. And that kind of makes more sense, like stuff around the world sucks. Like every place has problems, but it's like, okay, we need to, it's going to sound selfish, but it's like, we need to fix our problems before we can go fix anyone else's. It's kind of like worry about yourself first, which I guess is that individualistic mentality, but it's also like, let's worry about the community first. You can just change out the subject.
Yeah.
And then, it's just a lot of stuff. But yeah, basically I think everyone, it's because of like just the access to seeing people's traumas or their own traumas or all this stuff. It's a lot to live right now. Like
and now here, like, I don't know if I'm playing devil's advocate or not. There's almost too much available to help people even. Like, it's like, you have this trauma, try this therapy, try this therapy, try this therapy. So now not only do you have that trauma, not you, like everybody, we have this trauma, but now we have so many ways of labeling it, thinking about it, naming it. And it's like, I don't know, like you said, I'm kind of in a headspace now where I accept traumatic things that happen. And now I want to move forward. I don't want to label every mental illness or every aspect of my mental illness that I have. Like, I want to be able to say, okay, these are the things that happened. These are the symptoms. Let me move forward, Yeah,
no, I agree with that. Like, I want to know what's up with me. And then, because that's another big thing is like, the more you understand yourself, then the more you can help people. Because you know where your boundaries are, you know where your lines are, you know how much you can do without overextending or putting yourself in a situation. Because I feel like sometimes, and this isn't everybody, but like we put ourselves in situations where our intention is to help and our intention was to help. We did help. And then almost like now we're in trouble and we need help back, but that person isn't in a spot to help. And it's almost like you feel like you're owed. But it's like, no, you gotta help with the expectation of not being owed anything. And then, but that's also where you come into don't self-sacrifice,
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's almost like by being a little bit selfish and conserving your energy, you're going to be able to do more net good in the long run because you didn't help 20 people today. But if you did help 20 people today, you'd be shot by tomorrow and you wouldn't help another 20 people in a year. So if you can help 1 or 2 people a day, the net worth of that is going to be much greater over the long run if you can learn how to conserve your energy and be a little selfish when necessary,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of where it's like, I completely agree with that. That's the best way to summarize it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to end there on a positive note, right? That was a positive note.
Take care of yourself is the end note.
Yeah. Be selfish, and that's it.
Be selfish, go to the gym, don't eat your vegetables. That's what we learned today.
And this cat is giving me a lot of life right now. I just have to say that.
Oh, this is Luna. Aww. Luna Freya.
Okay, so we're going to end the podcast there. Again, listeners, this was episode number 117. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please don't forget to hit subscribe. It is my mission to grow this channel this year, and your support would be incredibly helpful. Also, I believe you take virtual clients as well. Is that correct?
I do. So if anybody wants to talk, chat, I also just do informational sessions as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave his Instagram link below if anybody wants to reach out to him for, whatever your goals are, weight loss, nutrition. He was a great trainer, so I highly recommend him for whatever your personal needs are. And if you live in New Jersey, was Central Jersey, would you say?
I'm actually coming back to Philly soon, so.
Oh, are you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, you have to let me know when you come back to Philly. We'll have to do a hang sometime.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, so Philly, anybody in Philly wants a trainer, hit him up. And that's it. Pranzata Podcast. Have a good day, guys. Bye.